Welcome to the Spiritually Ignited Paradox Literature Language of the Heart Speaker Gathering. All of our speakers are shared on our WhatsApp audio groups and speaker channels. The links will be dropped in the chat. If you're listening to this recording and need help, we have a way out that works. Please reach out and send us an email at connect@sipx.world, and the crew will reach out and get back to you. Each week we read from the Doctor's Opinion to page 164. Today we continue with Bill's story, page 1, paragraph 4, till page 2, paragraph 1. We have invited THERESA F from North Hills, California, to share a message of depth and weight from the heart on the passage that she will be reading. Over to you, THERESA. The floor is yours.
Okay. Hey, I feel better. Okay. Passage from the big book. Bill's story, page 1 and 2. 22 and a veteran of foreign wars, I went home at last. I fancied myself a leader, for had not the man of my battery given me a special token of appreciation. My talent for leadership, I imagine, would place me at the head of vast enterprise, which I would manage with the utmost assurance. I took a night law course and obtained employment as investigator for Surety Company. The drive for success was on. I'd proved to the world I was important. My work took me about Wall Street, and little by little, I became interested in the market. Many people lost money, but some became very rich. Why not I? I studied economics and business as well. Potential alcoholic that I was, I nearly failed my law course. At one of the finals, I was too drunk to think or write. Though my drinking was not yet continuous, it disturbed my wife. We had long talks when I would still her foreboding by telling her that men of genius conceive their best projects when drunk. The most majestic constructions of philosophic thought was so derived. That's right, Bill. Break that shit down. Break it down, Bill. We could sell, what does it say, ice to an Eskimo. That line always in Bill's story. Again, Teresa, welcome anybody who's new. Welcome home. Please keep coming back. Old timers, thank you for my life. Oh, I'm so uncomfortable. I'm always uncomfortable. Okay. Let me be present. That line always gets most people about this phase in Bill's life where all appears to be well. I mean, there was a time, I think, in most of our drinking lives where it seemed to be okay. I mean, there weren't any particular, I don't know. I think about my life growing up, being born addicted and living my life out loud, having companies and businesses, and I don't think I ever really worked in a regular job. Since the age of 14, I built companies. I started a nonprofit agency. I always had to have a position of CEO, vice president. Like, I don't know, be a worker amongst worker. I have to be running stuff. I think it allowed me to be more in charge. And I thought about Wall Street. Yeah, man, I'm from New York. It was all about money, property, prestige, looking good, dressing up my outsides, furs, diamonds. I had all my jewelry made in the jewelry district downtown in New York. Had limousines take us all home after the bar closed to hang out in my house and party. Later, I moved to Queens, got a penthouse. I mean, although I grew up in the projects, I went to Catholic school, drinking every day, all day. I don't remember going, something's wrong. This is the people I hung out with, my family. I got loaded in my house. We put the drugs on the street, selling drugs, making money. Like I said, as I got older, I lived like Michelle Pfeiffer on Scarface. I mean, who you know, what you know, having respect on the street. Certainly getting the acclimates and the recognition from the people around me that all is well. It doesn't matter that I'm getting loaded and drinking all day, every day. I hung out in the best clubs, restaurants. Did anybody say to me at that time that I have a spiritual illness that only a spiritual remedy can conquer? That I was dying on the inside, regardless of how I looked on the outside? I don't think so. Um, I was the rich girl, the money girl. I took care of everybody. I was thinking about that. Most of the people I grew up with, even my family, I always handled everybody's problems and issues. I still do that today. Um, I'm the fix it, like the movie The Scandal, Olivia Pope. I'm the fix it girl. Go to Teresa, she'll fix it. They call me Terry. And I would. And no time has been that I would even consider. And if somebody even pointed out something was wrong, I had a reason for that. And I don't know about y'all, but smoking weed made you really brilliant. I miss those days where you sit around smoking and everybody knew something. I remember telling my nephews that recently because I was, not recent, I was talking to them and they were Googling it. And I was like, I remember back in the day when I was growing up, if you sounded brilliant, that was sufficient. You know what I'm saying? If he was dropping something, nobody did research. Like, nobody fact checked you. It was like, yo, that was deep. You know what I'm saying? And you just like, you were it. I don't know. Now everybody got to look up everything and find out if I know what I'm talking about. It was just something about that that made you cool, as long as you sound right. And I was so young. I got emancipated at 14. My man was 26. I mean, I look at somebody that age now, or even like my nephews, and can't even wrap my head around. I wasn't young. As I've gotten older, I'm 60 now. I'm like, I didn't know anything, but you couldn't have told me that. You couldn't have told me that I wasn't smart. I had it going on. Call those the good old days, right? I didn't know that I was a walking dead. That was a human doing rather than a human being. You couldn't even tell me that I was playing God. I'm always like, what God was anybody playing? Not the God that I've come to understand today. At the same token, there are people who look for me on Facebook, and I go to school reunions. I heard a lot of stories in the room, so I thought I was a real badass, like, yeah, I was a real bitch. And, we come from, mafia and no, I wasn't. They call me a brainy. I always made straight A's, even from Catholic school. I usually tell them to tell me about me because I don't have any memory. And it's usually a consensus, that I'm kind. I was worldly, extremely mature, and highly intelligent. I was considerate and thoughtful, spiritual, helpful, caring. I thought I got this laugh from Cocaine, from the program, from Cocaine Anonymous. Nope. I went to my school reunion. I started laughing, and they were like, "You still have that laugh?" I was like, "No, I got that laugh from the program." They were like, "No, you've always laughed like that." People told me about my laugh. You always had that laugh. But they also knew that I was broken. They saw me with broken bones and beat up and glass in hand. Um, and there was nothing that they could do about it. Isn't that something? And so why would I think anything is wrong if I'm highly intelligent and helping other people? And I understood this thing called the world of spirit and the world of the ancestors and spirit guides. And they were my guide and my strength and my safe place out of the physical world. I say the physical world was lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. I don't recall worrying about what you think about me. And I walked with my head up and had it going on, man. My clothes were immaculate. And I did not know I was dying. Nobody could have told me something was wrong with the way I lived. So why would I change it? Why would I change it? As most, it ended up changing when that changed, right? When all of a sudden I became present for my experience and alcohol betrayed me, abandoned me, and left me emotionally retarded with no coping skills. And it was smoking cocaine that I believe introduced me to my disease. You see, that whole lifestyle, even as Bill was explaining it, it looked glamorous on the outside. It's almost like I used the portrait of Dorian Gray. When I started smoking, it revealed the ugliness of the spirit of my soul. The darkness that was living inside of me was revealed. And I say it introduced me to my addiction because before that I would smoke. Uh, I would smoke a couple of puffs, um, drink Cavassier. I sipped my drinks and sniff some cocaine. I mean, I was trusted with kilos, man. My family puts the drugs on the street, right? I would sell it. That's why I was I was the it person. Wherever I came, I'm the one that had it. Uh, and the day I smoked was the day I was introduced to this thing called the obsession of the mind, man. And I don't know if I would have met my disease if I would have kept drinking, because it seems so normal. But because cocaine smoking is so short-lived, I came down. I don't know that my I smoked for 6 months. I know sometimes Reggie thinks it's funny, because some of y'all do it for years, but I did that for 6 months. It rocked my world, y'all. What is happening? It changed everything. I ended up selling ficus trees at 2 o'clock in the morning. No, man, I was selling all my stuff. It was bad. No, that was so horrible. And now the world of spirit became dark. There's dark energy and entities, t with people. And I needed more, and I needed more, and I was scared to stop because I had always lived flatline. I had no heartbeat. I had no heartbeat. I was flatline. Dude, nobody's home, and it gave me a heartbeat. It was like I was resuscitated. And it didn't last long enough, and I couldn't stay checked out. And when I became present for my experience, it became a game changer, man. I always say incomprehensible demoralization is a whole lot of things, and I don't mind doing them if I don't notice, right? But now I'm noticing, and I'm hearing the name calling. And my grandmother looks disgusted, and my father stops talking to me, and I remember they tried to do some spiritual cleansing and they cleansed me with chickens and eggs and herbs, and I had to dress in white for 10 days, and I was walking up and down the streets going to the dope house wearing all white, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. They were like, "Who in the hell I told you?" And I was like, "They won't think I'm doing anything." I was so bright, giving everybody away, giving the spot away. I was so paranoid that whenever I smoked, I would spray Lysol. Everybody hated hanging out with me. It was like, 'cause I didn't want anything to smell. Oh my goodness, that was horrible. And the marshals came to my house. I stopped paying rent, paid for lights. Remember I owed 2 kilos. It was bad, y'all. My uncle came, told me, you're in trouble when the good guys and the bad guys are looking for you. I started putting baking soda on the street, so can't find all the people. I need to make amends about that. How many people was buying baking soda in New York? Oh, Lord have mercy. And I remember telling him to mind his business, man. I got this. And I didn't have anything. Lost everything. Lost my mind. Every waking moment it was chasing. A level of bankruptcy and disgust and shame and humiliation. Talk about isolating and staying away from everyone. It's scary when addicts are throwing you out of their house and you got the dope, man. You know what I mean? I got the dope and they were like, "Yo, you tripping." I was trying not to come down. I'm walking around with 10 straight shooters. I have a Louis Vuitton duffel bag, burnt lips. They were like, "You're gonna have your heart's gonna explode." I was trying to just stay flatline and I couldn't. That was horrible. That was horrible. Now, I know that drinking would have led me to something, the progression of the disease is just slow and steady. It is patient. The cocaine knocked me to my knees, y'all. And there was no way I can get that other life back. The life that Bill described. Could I ever get that back? Those good old days back? Where nothing mattered and I could dress up my outsides and act like all is well? I don't think they were coming back. I don't think I'll ever get them back. And I ended up coming to this program because after doing an aimless walk and ending up in a church and asking to feel the peace that I felt in that church inside of me, I think that is the moment where we have the grace of God and desperation meet one another. When I came into these rooms from New York City to California, my mother and my cousin were in the program. I didn't know what you guys were doing. I just knew that they were happy. I remember my cousin used to speedball. She has her story, The Lesbian Addict. I think she's in Faith, Hope, and Courage. I think it's the second one. And I remember I didn't recognize my cousin the last time I had seen her before she got sober. And I used to look up to her. Mommy had always been a hot mess. She found my mother in Venice Beach eating out of garbage cans and brought her to the rooms. And I remembered you guys, they were here for 4 years before I got here. And when I arrived, my mother picked me up and dropped me off in the rooms. I had endured physical abuse, verbal abuse, and sexual abuse, and I was feeling all the punches and all the my body was beat up. It was beat up. At 24, I was so young and lived like I was already probably 80. And I came into these rooms, and this woman, Marcy, told me that you have been praying for me. I was a child of God. I deserved to be here. And that I had a beautiful light inside of me. We had to clean house for that light to shine. And I believed Marcy. I wanted to know what she saw in me. And I began this journey of recovery. That life that even Bill described had long gone. Had long gone. It was only but a memory. That's why I like when Ebby came to visit Bill, in that time in his life where he was just hoping that the good old days will have a moment, right? Or revisit the good old days. And that's not what happened. And it's what he saw in Ebby that got his attention. And realized that there wasn't more within him than Bill had. Something about this person that he knew how he had drank. There was something different about him, and that's what I saw in all of you. There was something. I don't know what it is. Can't put my finger on it, nor can I try to explain it, but there was something. And I wanted to discover what it is because the life I had lived was over. The jig was up, man. No more straws in the game. No more cards to draw. No more rabbits in the hat. You know what I mean? It's like, talk about the last house on the block. Those days are over. And if those days are over and they cannot be recreated, as delusional as they may be, although we talk about I can't differentiate the true from the false, I'm willing to do that when that life seems normal and I can dress it up and act as if. But since I can't do that anymore, I need another way to live, and I don't know how to do that. I've been drinking my whole life since I came in this world. Alcohol was given to me as a baby. I don't know how to live without something. It was my higher power. It was my puppet master. How am I supposed to exist? It was my oxygen. And so somehow you guys found a solution. You found a way out in which you can all agree that I had an illness. What a relief to find that out. Had nothing to do with incompetence. It had nothing to do with not being intelligent. I had all those things. My resume is outstanding. It had everything to do with the bankruptcy that I was suffering from that I was unaware of. And that I was going to go on a journey of uncovering, discovering, and discarding. And I didn't have to do it alone. That I had to find this power that lied within me, that you told me it lied within each and every one of you, and I was able to see it in you. that you found another way to live. And because those days are over, how do I discover new days? How do I discover that living just might not be so bad? Because I invited death in my life and death didn't even want me. So if I have to live, how am I to live? I use the reference of my nephew, not after my brother died, he kept trying to take his life. He wanted to be with my brother. And from what I believe the last time he attempted, he was in the hospital with the cops standing next to him and they pumped his stomach and everybody's going in to see him and he's looking all pathetic and embarrassed and I said, I only got one question for you, man. When you woke up and realized you were in St. Joseph's Hospital, did you go, fuck? You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to die. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn it. What the hell? I'm still here? And he had to laugh. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the police officers are looking like, like, you should be like, Lord, have mercy. I know what that is to want to keep dying, but you keep waking up. I love how Ralph says, I wasn't worried about the overdose. I was worried about the underdose. Yo, I wasn't tripping off of that. Can't scare me straight. You gonna die. When? You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? And my nephew had to laugh. I said, we gonna need a plan B, yo. Obviously, you're your worst assassin, as I was. Unless you're gonna walk around like Pontius Pilate waiting for Jesus to come back, being miserable for the rest of your life, trying to check out of this camp. We gotta find another way to live. That to discover that living just might not be so bad. Because that's what you guys taught me. That alcohol can no longer help me to live. Cocaine can never help me to live. I need another way to live. These spiritual tools that you lay at my feet, I need to pick them up and learn to apply them to my life. I had to exchange one for the other and apply the same vigor, determination, dedication, passion that I did to using, I needed to put to this program. I didn't do it once in a while, now and then, whenever it felt comfortable. I did it every day, all day. I'm glad to say my nephew, anyway, he ended up coming to live with me. I think that's what he wanted anyway. Uh, he ended up coming live. I'm like, you come in a spiritual boot camp. And we have to address the spiritual malady that's lying within you that says you need to die because that's what you guys gave me. And we did inventory, we did grief recovery work, meditation, prayer, going for walks, even food. I had to learn about food too. It was interesting. I shared with him things that you shared with me. You know, that night when he first came, I gave him dinner, and the next day I said, I want you to tell me all the foods you like and you don't like. And the list of foods that he didn't like, I gave it to him last night. I was like, just about everything on your list you don't like, you ate that shit last night. No wonder you depressed. You know what I'm saying? You eating shit you don't like. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the hell, man? We get to learn to go, I don't eat that. And let's discover a relationship with food and wake up and smell the strawberries, all the things you like, smell it. Have a relationship. I had to learn how to have a relationship with food that I eat out of. I have to, not because I want to. Same thing with the program, right? I come because I have to, and then eventually I want to. But I have to begin with I have to. And that meditation is important and prayer. And we get up in the morning and let the sun come in. And he would go for walks with my mother and started learning about being in the present moment and present time. Mommy would say to him, I want my life back. I want my life back. And he would say, I hear you, Abuela, but right now you're with your grandson. Just right now you're taking a walk with your grandson. And she had Alzheimer's, and she would have a moment where she would enjoy that and they would smell the flowers. And then she would go right back to, I want my life back. That's just as indicative. She's an alcoholic and an addict that I do that too. I want my life back. What life are we talking about? The one that Bill just described? What kind of life was that? Glorifying a time that wasn't really all that. But my disease tells me that it was, right? My disease tells me that's the best way to be, especially when life gets hard. And when I got here, they said, strap on and hold on. You're about to go for a ride. Life's in session. Welcome to the land of the living. How do I get to learn how to live life on life's terms? Well, I'm going to have to implement some new things. And I do the uncomfortable until it becomes comfortable. I love how even in the 12 and 12, it says all 12 steps are contrary to my natural desires. I don't recall looking at the big book or the program going, oh my God, this is a piece of cake. I was like, what? But you know how many things I was doing to get loaded? And you tell me that if I get loaded again, I'm going to go right back to where I left off? And I know it's being recorded and it's perverse, but it's cocaine anonymous, so whatever. I use this term, I share with my sponsees. It's perverse. It just helps me think it through. If I go back out and get loaded, I will end up doing blowjobs for $5 because that's where I was just about to do. I had sold everything, lost everything. And this guy, the last thing I had was this carat-and-a-half ring. And he said, that's going to be mine. And man, I can't describe what that was when I ended up giving that to him for a little piece of rock. And that was the last thing I had, and I had to go back again. And he was like, I had to give him a blowjob. And I remember he said he went to go do something and I ran. And if that's where I'm going back to, where's the big book? You know what I mean? Like, so a lot of times people are like inventory, blowjob, inventory. But you know what? I think I'm gonna go with the inventory. Go to a meeting, blowjob. Like that's my scale, you guys. You do whatever you want to do to figure out whether you need to show up or not. I be like, I don't know. I take advantage of my sanity. I have sanity today. Sanity that says doing a blowjob for $5 don't make no sense. And what I cherish is my sanity. Because if my sanity returns, it's gonna make sense. You follow me? It's like if I lose my sanity, somehow I'm gonna rationalize why that I'm in what public relations and that's my new job. You know what I mean? Like that I don't need no lights. I mean, just oh Lord. I need my sanity, and the way I get it is through these 12 steps. I need a relationship with a power, a source of power. Alcohol and drugs gave me the delusion that I was in charge. When? How could I possibly be in charge if it tells me when to get up, when to go to bed, where I'm gonna live, where I'm not gonna live, where it creates this invisible seatbelt or something that locks me into a chair and I'm there 2 weeks later, keep telling myself I'm leaving any minute. In charge of what? Maybe y'all didn't get loaded that way, but I would sit down and go, I'm only gonna be here for a few minutes. 5 days later, and I'm still telling myself I'm leaving. Insanity, girl, you ain't left in 5 days. What makes you think you leaving? When? Somehow I'm stuck to this chair in this place. That's not no way to live. That's not a way to live. That ain't fun, but I have a disease centered in my thinking that tells me those were good times. I can't have a relationship with a God. I don't believe in no God or higher power. I need to run things. What were you running? You were running what? What a lie. Running what, Teresa? In charge of what? Being a slave to it? Giving my soul to it? Thank God for sanity. I wasn't running nothing. But the higher power that you found here actually empowers me. This collaboration, I call it a collaboration, it's an invitation to tap into a source of power that's the creator of all creators, the Alpha, the Omega, infinite power that says if you redirect your will towards my will, miraculous things will happen. You will be restored. You will be transformed. You will have independence. You will have freedom from the bondage of self. You'll be able to use your brain. Like you can rely on your thoughts. And I don't know, you guys, that excites me. It's like I would finally have freedom. Freedom to become a human being and to live life. That I could show up for it. That I'll be given these assignments that I can actually pull off. I'm excited about that power. I hate when people go, not hate, but it's just issues. People like, I have an issue with God. No, you have an issue with religion because ain't no addict gonna tell me you got an issue with a higher power. You don't stick no needles in your arm, suck a bottle all day, right? Smoke a pipe, get bleeding in your nose, chasing this thing every day, all day, give up your dreams, your hopes, your family, your job to tell me that you don't have no higher power. That's the higher power. Like, don't let the disease tell you you don't have no higher power. You need another one that works, one that restores, one that gives me self esteem and self worth. That other higher power robbed me of all of it. This one restored it. Gives me a brain to use, man, intuitive thought and inspiration, guidance. I don't have to figure out my life. I just got to treat my alcoholism and my addiction. A spiritual remedy must conquer the dilemma, the drama of life. And I've had dramas of life for 35 years. I feel bad for most of my sponsees, man. They call me, I'm like, if anybody's getting loaded around here, it's me. And if I ain't getting loaded, you ain't. So you need to go help somebody, open up the big book, do something. Because ain't nobody top what I be going through yet. I got sponsees stay sober to see me get through the day. I'm dead serious. They show up with a sandwich and an apple. They be like, I want to see how she gonna pull this one off. You know, life's in session when I call my sponsor or my grand sponsor, and they be like, damn. Like, that's scary, yo. I call my sponsor, they be like, oh my God, you don't get a break. Now I need to go talk to God. I got to do an inventory. Every time I call my sponsor, I do an inventory. Then they go back to, they did what? I'll be like, no, we're going backwards. I'd be like, what the hell? Damn. When's the day gonna come when life will be okay for you? I don't know. Maybe my soul contract. I don't know. But I probably wouldn't have survived the first 24 years of my life with that higher power and then knew that I was going to have another, I don't know how many years. It's been 35. I had a good 5 years when I first got here. It was good. I started businesses and everything. Oh, I was having so much fun. I thought, ooh, free at last. I thought I was going to, I'm at the top again. No, I lost everything. And I met God butt naked alone with a white flag up my ass. Uncle, uncle, I am no longer the CEO of THERESA Incorporated. Haven't gotten it back ever since. I feel like Bill W, man. I turned into Mother Teresa, went back, became a priest in my tradition. Oh Lord, haven't built a company. Oh Lord, man, you guys. Whoo, I've been the caretaker, caregiver of most of my perpetrators and my abusers. All of my core family have been sick and ill and dying, and that's been my assignment. Stretch my spiritual muscles. See what's blocking me from this power. Only they were able to bring that out in me. Walked each and every one of them to the other side. Is something for people who always wanted you dead, who tried really, really hard to kill you, other than daddy. For them to be looking at me when they take their last breath. Is that something, y'all? That is crazy. That's crazy. Many of them, I remember one time I could heard my brother telling my cousin, can you believe Terry's taking care of me? I could have did a Diary of a Mad Black Woman. You know what I mean? Like tortured all of them. Because they were all invalid. Like they didn't have the capacity to clean themselves, feed themselves. I could have killed them all if I wanted to. Thank God for 12 steps. Revenge at last. Instead, I gave them compassion and love and understanding. Talk about that prayer of St. Francis. St. Francis himself couldn't live up to that prayer. As a matter of fact, he didn't even do the prayer. It was one of his students that came up with that. And the way they believe in which he lived. I remember mommy was going off on me. So many people going off on me. I'm like, does anybody want to pray for me? I do it for y'all all the time. I'm forever praying for you and doing inventory. Everybody want to give that a shot? I do it. I do it all the time. You want to try it? Perhaps I'm spiritually sick. You know what I mean? You ever thought about that? Like, I don't know. I'm always considering you being spiritually sick because I am too. You want to try it? Jeez Louise. I have these powwow meetings with God and our staff meeting, I call it. I have a staff meeting in the morning. Throughout the day, I pop my head in, and at night, there are times I be telling God, I'm handing in my resignation letter, okay? You're going to lose one of your most trusted servants here on earth if a miracle don't happen immediately. And I don't know you guys. I don't know if it's arrogant. I don't know if it's timing, but I swear something miraculous happens. I believe God be like, do something quick. She's not playing. She's serious. She can't take no more. Do something. Whoo, we're losing her. We're losing her. Oh Lord, yo, I've been on a journey, man. Uncovering, discovering, discarding. I don't know how not to give this program away. People got judgments and opinions. Having to move that aside. It's been interesting since everybody has died. I don't know what this is. I called my first sponsor and I was like, do you ever remember me worrying about what other people think about me? And she was like, no, never. I was like, what is this? Where is this coming from? I don't like this thing, that self-centeredness of worrying about what other people. It makes me emotional. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. Because there's no freedom and movement in that. And it's not that I walked around with a sense of arrogance, it's that I walked around with a sense of knowing. It's my relationship with God, like knowing that I'm safe and protected regardless of what you think about me. But something has happened where I'm worried about what you think about me. And I'm working on that because I need to find out what that is. I don't find freedom in that. The fear of that keeps you in bondage of worrying about what I say and what I do and what you're going to say. And I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. There's no peace in that. There's no serenity. There's no way for me to navigate. And I think it may have a lot to do with losses. I've had so many losses that every time I call my sponsor and go, I want, no, you don't. Every time I look at Facebook, I got to do an inventory. Everybody seems to be living their best life on Facebook. What's happening to me? Everybody's traveling, they're eating, they're in love. I don't get it. I don't get it. Everybody's having such a good time. And yes, it's false because some people call me, I mean, like I'm about to jump off of a bridge. I just saw you in love eating in Greece and you know what I mean, on Facebook. Like, what happened? Oh, that was last year. That was a repost. But somehow I am judging other people's outsides with my insides. It's just, I've heard people say, like, God's gonna just bless you. You've done so much. You've sacrificed so much. Stop telling me that. Because if it doesn't happen, I'm gonna be mad at God. When is it my turn? When is it my time? And that's why I'm worried about what you think about me. I've had a lot of people say things to me. I had one person say, I don't want to be that spiritual. Your life is all messed up. You gotta find another God. The God you serve seems punishing. My doctor was like, I don't mean to say anything, but man, that sounds very abusive. No, this is my soul contract and my path. And that the life that I live throws me harder into working with others. It gives me insurance of my recovery. Because when my life has question marks, and when everything always seems like it's falling apart and nothing makes sense and nothing is tangible and I'm losing grip of everything and everyone around me, I can't figure it out. It's beyond my pay grade. I go, you know what I can do? I don't know what to do about this, but you know what I can do? I can go treat my alcoholism. I can go put chairs up in a meeting. I can go call a newcomer and find out how they're doing. I can open up the big book with somebody and start sharing line by line, word by word. I can do an inventory. I can go into prayer and meditation. I can call my sponsor. I can read something. And somehow that empowers me. I have something I can do when life just seems just so bigger than anything that I can do about it. And I'm talking about finances, people, illnesses. My partner is completely disabled. Mother with Alzheimer's, father with Parkinson's, brother with cancer, my best friend with cancer, my uncle with cancer. People die without life insurance, having dismantling their lives, bringing everything in my home. My home is overflowed with people who have died, their stuff. Can't get rid of it. Gotta go to school. Gotta do my assignments. Bills are just being swarmed with bills. Past due, past due, past due, past due. Cut off notices. I mean, I can't figure that out. And it doesn't mean irresponsible. It's too much. It's beyond my pay grade. Beyond my pay grade. But you know what I can do? Instead of sitting down figuring that out, I can go treat my alcoholism because it says the answers will come when your house is in order. And somehow when I do that, then the answer comes, you could do this. Call them. Go there. It's amazing. Look in that drawer. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, oh, say yes. I remember this woman came to my house some years ago and I told her, my phone bill is due. It was years ago. My phone bill is due. And I was giving her an example. One or two things are going to happen at 5 o'clock. Either the phone will stay on, which will mean I need to talk to people, or get cut off, which means I don't need to talk to people. And a few minutes before 5, my stepmother called and said, I've been trying to reach you. There's no voicemail. So that's what happens when you don't pay your bill, the voice, those little features. And so she was like, I'll call you back. She called me back. She said, I just paid your phone bill because I need to reach you and I'm trying to call you. Turned to the woman. I said, I guess I need to talk to people. Does that mean I'm irresponsible? I had no way of figuring that out. But what I did know is that I needed to help that person. I remember saying I wanted to go buy a blouse. I would like to have a blouse. And I'm on my way to go see if there's a way I can get a blouse. And somebody shows up and I sit down and I'm of service to them. They say, hey, where were you going? Oh, I was going to go see if there's a way I can get a blouse. And we start leaving and people start coming up to my house. And I sit down and I am present for that conversation. And I'm available for that conversation. And at the end of the day, somebody showed up and said, I was at the store, I saw a blouse and I thought of you. That's how I've been living. And some people don't understand that. Some people don't agree with that. Some people could do dream boards and get their hustle on and live their life and fulfill their dreams or whatever they want to do. No, I gave my life to God. Literally. When I became a priest and I said yes in 1996, my life no longer belonged to me. You are not to work for anybody. You're not to go into a job. You are to every day, all day say, God, what will you have me be? What will you have me do? And you need to develop intuition in a way that is your internal GPS and you will operate from that place. And when you do, miraculous things will happen. You don't have to want for anything. But boy, I do. Boy, do I want for things, and that gets in the way. And it creates fear and resentment and anxiety. Doesn't say have hope, that I can't have hope, that I can't dream. I just can't pursue in a way that becomes so self-consumed that I can't see anything else other than what I want. And so lately, what I've been saying and I've been ending, I used to say God's a show off. I used to end with God's a show off. And that is true. That despite all the things that have happened in my life, if you're new, this program, Cocaine Anonymous, did not promise me a house, a job, a relationship, my family. They promised me recovery. And so I don't have to get caught up in all the things that I think will make me okay. That what you promised me, the miracle that happens around here, that despite no job, no house, no car, going into debt, people dying, people being sick, I am present for that experience, and not a thought has occurred to me to get loaded. Not a thought. That is the miracle. Without any effort on my part, without swearing off forever. Not a thought. That's wild for an alcoholic and an addict like me. You promised me that, and you fulfilled that promise. People have lied to me, but I don't think the big book has. And so lately, what I've been important for me, and it could change. I always jokingly say, check back with me later, man. I'm always uncovering, discovering, and discarded that sound profound last week don't sound the same this week. You know what I'm saying? I be like, that when I told you last week, that was deep, right? I know. It no longer applies. Like, I know it was deep last week, but I found out I didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. But it sounded good though. I thought I had arrived at some conclusion. Elizabeth laughing. I thought I got somewhere. I thought I had resolved that issue. Yeah, no, you only scratched the surface. So I think I'm in less judgment of it today as I've gotten older in sobriety. As I tell my professors, I'm doing my master's in humanities, and I got religious studies and sociology. And I would always say to my professors, well, when they would ask me, you have anything to add to Miss Fair? And I'd be like, well, I have more questions than I do statements, Professor. The longer I stay sober, the older I get, the more I learn, the less I know. You know what I'm saying? I'm a religious studies major. So anybody who's new, don't worry about the God thing. The secret is nobody knows. That's what I told my last professor. He's clergy. I was like, so let me ask you something. Do we not know if there's really a God or a heaven? He was like, no, just pick one. I was like, okay, well, there you go, Cocaine Anonymous. We don't really know. And when we find out, it won't matter. We'll be in that dimension in that time and we'll deal with it then. Do you know what I'm saying? But anyway, oh Lord have mercy. Find one that helps you to live this lifetime. Oh, geez. So I've been saying a lot of things have been taken away from me in my minute and something. A lot of things have been taken away from me without my permission. And I've heard around here, God does stuff without my permission. I got an issue with that just personally because too many things go on in this world. And if God doesn't need our permission, then the world should be a better place. But for me, God needs my permission, needs my will. That's why I have to align it. I have to make a decision in three. It says we alcoholics are undisciplined, so we let God discipline us. That means we have to let Him. I have to make a decision. I have to ask. So that means I am a participant in this collaboration. And it amazes me that all these things are taken away from me as I described to you without my permission. People love me today, hate me tomorrow. Credit cards taken away. I mean, oh, so many things are just taken away without me having a vote. People I love, care about, just gone. But there's something that I've been given, and that's my sobriety, and that's mine. It's a gift given by grace, and nobody could take that away from me. Nobody, that's mine. Just like I'm a member of Cocaine Anonymous and you don't have a vote. I have a desire and I am, whether you like it or not, I'm a member. And you don't have to like me and I ain't gotta like you, but we gotta help one another. And so that's where I'm at. My sobriety is mine. It is mine to polish, nourish, take care of it. It is mine to give away, to keep it. And it is only I who will throw it away. Blowjobs for $5? I don't think so. No? So I'm going to stay in unity, recovery, and service, put one hand in this program and one hand in this God, and go be of service. I'm a clean house and trust in God. Thank you so much for doing the 12-step call on me. Thank you so much. If nobody told you they love you today, I truly, truly do. And if you knew, I don't know what you're gonna do. But if you've done whatever the hell it is you doing, then you might want to try some of the stuff we're doing. Thank you.